think it's also in order to welcome us to another edition of the Friday morning coffee, as the DVC will call it, but officially called the University Research Training, organized by the Central Office of Research, the Postgraduate College, and the Postgraduate Student Association, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. It's with joy that we are receiving Dr. Caleb Adelowo for the second time, and this time to talk on a key theme in our literature review process. So, I think maybe we should give people about a minute or two to sign in. I think the rain affected a couple of people. It's affecting a couple of people's network, but can we let's give people just a few more minutes to sign in, and that means by 8:03, I'll be inviting the DVC and Professor Babajide Odu and the DVC to welcome the facilitator for today. However, while we wait, I'm also going to mention that we should please visit the YouTube page for the Central Office of Research. The name of the YouTube handle is OAU Central Office of Research. So please, let's visit the page. It has a lot of resources. Let's recommend it to our students. Most of all our trainings and our meetings are live streamed and saved and archived there. So it has a lot of resources that is useful. Even all the previous sessions are also archived there. And so we should not sleep on it. We should not overlook it. It is really a useful resource. And the beauty of it is it's video. So we can watch quickly. We can toggle it to where you want to watch. You can take it, you can watch aspects you want to watch and come back to it again. And you can watch and rewatch anyone that you are interested in. So please, let's recommend it to our friends. Let's recommend it to our students. Let's recommend it to people. So, yes, thank you. I think the link has been posted in the chat. Let me also welcome the director, linkages and partnership, Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. That's in the person of Professor New Oduawati. Very grateful to have you, sir. And then we also have Professor Babajide Odu, who is the director of the University Research Office. He's the main coordinator for this exercise. And all of us are under our big boss, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research, Innovation and Development, and that is Professor Akomi Akinyemi. So let me invite Professor Babajide Odu to welcome us, and then before we invite the DVC. Professor.
Good morning. It's a cold morning, a very cold one indeed. So I want to welcome you to this series of this particular cold Friday morning. It's my pleasure to introduce to us the presenter of today. He presented to us last week, so it's like a continuation of what we did last week. So this morning we are going to look at supportive platforms and sources for your literature review. This is a very good presentation that our postgraduate students and even research writers should take advantage of this morning. So I want to say, just listen and then enjoy the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. The DVC, sir, do you want to say something at the end?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dimeji. Good morning, all. Good morning, Professor Odu, Professor Oluwanati, and all the professors in the house. again, just to welcome us and again for us to be attentive and again to encourage us to invite others, particularly our postgraduate students, to always join this type of meeting. And again, to sincerely appreciate Professor Caleb Adelowo, Dr. Caleb Adelowo for the excellent work he's doing. It's always been supportive of pushing research and innovative approaches in the university. So we are grateful and thanks for your beautiful lecture last week. And we are looking forward to again another session of baptism from you this morning. So on behalf of the COR, again, I want to invite Dr. Caleb Adelowo to take the floor and take us through the session for today. Thank you so much.
Host, please allow Dr. Adelowo to unmute himself and to share his screen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. And it's always a great pleasure to be here. I really appreciate even the invitation extended to me again to be here this morning. So I really appreciate you and the team that are working assiduously at the Central Office of Research under the able leadership of Professor Akoni Akinyemi, the DVC Research, Innovation and Development. Thank you so much. And Mr. Dimeji, it's a great pleasure to be here. Thanks so much for the invite. Today, by His grace, we'll be looking at supportive platforms and resources, literature review. I can say that yes, it's a bit straightforward, everything we are going to be discussing, because literature review in different fields of life. I came from the background of innovation and entrepreneurship, which of course I know quite a number of from the science discipline, technology discipline, and the likes. But the process essentially, but what we do is now disciplined focus. And we should also understand that the way the world is going now, multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary research is mostly encouraged. So I would encourage that we do a lot of this together. And for PhD students, you can work alone. Yeah. So you need to really, really enjoy the support of your supervisor. So the training, the presentation outline is essentially what exactly is literature review and what exactly are the rationale for the literature review. And then we're going to be identifying some credible sources that are very useful even for literature review. And we are in the era of AI, machine learning, and the like. So we are not going to be blind even to all those sources as well. And of course, in performing literature search, what are the essential things to note? And if time permits, I actually want us to look at few databases where we can really demonstrate with specific topic that are prepared. But if we have another one on the platform, it's going to be very useful even for all of us. And then I'll share my final thoughts. Thank you very much. So by way of introduction, I just put the first question here. Which one comes first, research topic or literature review? Because sometimes when we say literature review as a collection of credible materials that we can go through, where we can actually extract information that are useful specifically to our research topic. But for us to actually come up with a very good research topic, literature review is very important. It's essential. If you don't know what is there, how then would you know the gap that you intend to fill? And of course, crafting a succinct, clear, smart topic with requisite objective, and especially I will advise that students on the course should look at what the initial program that has been held. They look at how to craft research objective, research questions, and conceptual frameworks and the likes. They are there on as part of the resources shared on the COR handle on YouTube. So it's important. So which one comes first? And then how do you then identify researchable topic? All of these had earlier been covered. So literature review seems to be performed until a study is completed. What do I mean by that? Because even at the point when you'll be doing your data analysis, you may discover that what you thought will be the pattern of your result, it may change. And then you'll be forced to look for literature to actually support or negate whatever findings you may have at the end of the day. So literature review actually cut across. But for the literature review that we are going to be focusing on today, there are those ones that we do essentially to come up to identify specific gap in the literature, and of course to craft our introduction, and of course to craft our compendium of literature review. And what are the rationale for all of those? We are going to see that as we go. And then, like I mentioned, please watch previous edition of this meeting. They are very good resources, even for everyone on the call that is interested in conducting an impactful research. So by way of definition, of course, there are different definitions of literature review, but I try to highlight key components of literature review in this case. We see that is a systematic and organized. So those are keywords that must be taken into consideration when we are doing literature review. It has to be systematic, it has to be properly organized. And not only that, it must speak to existing literature. That is the study areas where you are where you intend to pursue your research. So you look at the scholarly work on that particular topic. So it is used in academic research to understand what has already been studied, identify the gaps, and then provide a foundation for new research. Because this is very important. Like I raised the question from the beginning, that which one actually comes first? Is it the research topic or the literature review? Yeah, you have to be doing the two together. The topic you come up with today, tomorrow with new revelation from the literature, you may tend to refine it. And of course, the professor who took us from University of Ibadan actually made this very clear. This is an iterative process. You do it as you go. Some studies, actually, when you are starting out, you just start with maybe a low-key research topic. And as you go, as you make your finding, you begin to see that, okay, this title may need to change at the end of the day, which of course is going to be solidified by whosoever is actually supervising even your research. So, but the main thing is the foundation for new research, because you have to look at the state of the art. What exactly are those things that are there within the body of knowledge, the state of art in that specific field? And then for you to be able to identify the gaps that are there, and then you'll be able to propose even your own study title, objectives, and then raise important questions even to address them. So what are the key characteristics of a literature review? Of course, it's a summary of existing knowledge. The summary we are talking about here is not just a kind of collection of materials and repeating whatever we already have or know in the literature. Even though that will form part of it, essentially when you are looking at definitional issues, what are there in the literature? Are they really relevant even to your context? That is when you begin to interrogate what you have in the existing literature. You begin to see, are they really relevant even to us here? If they are not relevant to my context, then how do I structure it and make it a lot more relevant even to my own context? And then you devise your own new research or topic that you intend to study. And of course, it has to be, you have to do a lot of critical evaluation of this body of knowledge in terms of looking at the strength, the weakness, and the relevance and currency. How current are these literature? It will not be so good for anyone to be conducting assessment on maybe pre-COVID period now, looking at, okay, how are people able to manage the pandemic? Well, it's still useful, but essentially knowledge has passed even that stage, because I remember even those periods, there were a lot of studies that were conducted on the management of COVID-19 at different levels, at the socioeconomic level, the medical level, at different points, even sponsored by different international organizations. Yes, you can do it today to look at, okay, what have they looked at and what else, especially as we're not praying for any future pandemic. What have we done that we have not done right, that we can strengthen within our system to prepare us for the future pandemic? So it's still relevant in a way to review what has happened. And I remember during those periods, because we had one project that we did that time. So we had to go back to the history of pandemic and look at how they manage them, and then are those procedures still useful today? And then you can come up with very important summary of what is there in the literature, and then you can progress even to your own research. And of course, we also need to look at the organization of those ideas. It's not that we just begin to pick that, I like this one, we cherry pick, I like this one is saying this, just to support probably what you already have in your mind. But you need to look critically, both those that support the intuition or the kind of ideas that you are trying to put forward, and those that are against it, so that you'll be able to have a balanced discussion at the end of the day. And of course, you'll be able to lend your own voice even to the body of knowledge. And literature review is also very critical, so that you know from the beginning where your research will actually fit. Towards the end of this slide, I made something that you cannot do it alone, because it's just like when a child is newly born, he needs to depend even on the parents, on the mom, for so many cares and the like. The same way, when you are starting out, you depend so much on your supervisor. And remember, supervisor also has a lot of things, and you are not the only one that is supervising. So all of this we need to come together for you to read what your supervisor had done in the past, know the field that you want to go into, and then you can begin to craft your own research focus. And of course, we have mentioned the identification of research gaps, be it methodological gaps, be it conceptual gaps, be it theoretical gaps, and then you'll be able to summarize them. And of course, the context for, literature review provides the context even for new research. And what are key rationales for literature review? First is to understand existing knowledge, just as we have mentioned earlier, and to identify key gaps in the literature, and to avoid duplication. Of what use is if somebody has looked at the, say, entrepreneurial propensity of students in Obafemi Awolowo University. He has covered the entire university, maybe 2025. And as a student in 2026, you want to repeat even that same. There will be little that will be able to contribute even to the literature in that case. So it's very, very important to see what we already have to avoid duplication of effort. And of course, research duplication is a waste of resources, because it's like, why are you doing what we already know what is in there? But it's different from where you have not really done any specific study, but somebody is just telling you, we know what is going on there. And if you ask them, then tell us what you have observed. And they will not be able to come up with an empirical satisfactory response, even to that effect. That is not what we are talking about. Avoiding duplication. When somebody has done it, look at it critically, and then come up with your own research topic, and then of course objectives, and you can begin to pursue them. And of course, to develop theoretical and conceptual understanding. This has been said over and over by the earlier professor that have come even on this platform. And of course, to refine your research questions and objectives, identify appropriate methodology. We do literature search to actually, get a very sound methodology and approach even to our study. You look at those who have, worked in that path. What have they used? And then can we use something different, right? Which of course is going to serve provide a very, very ground breaking research, because it's a different thing when you use certain approach. When you change the approach, you see that you are going to get a different result, and then maybe a lot more optimal even for the system. And of course, to establish the significance of the study and to provide the foundation for the interpretation of the findings. So when you look at the processes that we have mentioned from the first one even to the last one, we'll see that it has cut across all aspects of research. So literature review is not that you have done it once and that's all, meaning once and for all. No, it's something that you have to do once and again, especially when you are doing thesis. You have to do that, because by the time you are doing a thesis, and for you now to begin to craft papers for from your thesis, it will be a lot easier, because you will have had a bulk of knowledge in terms of literature that you have reviewed, that you can begin to use even in your subsequent papers. So credible sources for literature review is very important, because we now have so many predatory outlets, submit paper today, tomorrow is out, tomorrow is published. All those are not really credible sources, even for literature review, And I think it depends on the university policy at this point, that once we have a policy on specific journals where our researchers, our scientists can publish their article, is always good for the system, so that we have a common focus in terms of credible journals that we'll be speaking to, not just putting our papers into predatory journals. So credible sources are scholarly, they are reliable, they are evidence-based, because these sources have been reviewed by scholars, experts in the field. So they can guarantee the authenticity of the information in terms of methodology, in terms of even the body of knowledge that we put there. And of course, the results that are presented, they will have checked through, are they valid, are they reliable? You know, all those ones will have been checked in the course before a paper is actually published. So this will help a lot in coming up with a very good research topic, and of course, a very good approach even to actually conduct them. And you will all also have the opportunity to publish where your literature is actually coming from. So you can imagine if your literature is coming from predatory journal, definitely it's going to be problematic at the end of the day, because no quality journal will be interested in what you are bringing. So what are the key sources that have been identified? This is not just all. We have so many more in the body of knowledge. I just pick few of them. The academic journals, we have the peer-reviewed journals that are mostly trusted, just as I mentioned earlier, and they have already been evaluated by experts even before those papers are published. Few of them, you have the Elsevier journal. They have different journals within the body of Elsevier. You have the Springer, you have Taylor and Francis, you have PubMed database also that you can consult, but all of these journals are equally within those database. You have the Google Scholar. Even though within the Google Scholar, you know, initially when technology, especially the ICT for search engines are improving, I mean, when they first came, Google became so rapid at a point you see that anything you can find in the Google, and then specifically Google targeted the researchers that are after quality papers, and then the Google Scholar is being used, and at a time it has also been bastardized by all of these predatory journals as well, because you see them popping up when you are doing research and you are using Google Scholar. So database bases like the Scopus, the Web of Science, and then of course PubMed for those in medical sciences. All of these have become a very strong database that can be used, that can be useful even for academic research, and especially for literature review on article crafting. And of course, you have the academic books, you have in the library, the monograph, and then scholarly textbook. You know, another important sources is actually the thesis and dissertations within the universities. You know, universities that are properly structured, well organized, will have the repository of their thesis, such that, you know, it's in the same field. For instance, I came from the field of technology management from ISP. So if anybody is interested in entrepreneurship and innovation or incubation management, I did incubation management even for my master's, and of course academic entrepreneurship for my PhD. So if anyone is interested in academic entrepreneurship literature, you can look at, okay, to date, as far back as 2017 when I submitted my thesis, what has happened between then and now. So you wouldn't be telling us what had happened between many years and 2027 or even 2020, because most of the publications that I've had or are published even from that thesis have also considered recent published articles from renowned and credible sources, which means these had been updated. That's what I said earlier. You know, it's an iterative process that will continue to improve and improve. As you have completed your thesis, you need to publish paper, you still need to do a bit more of literature review, remember, it has to be current, it has to be up to date or up to speed. And of course, for thesis, you have ProQuest, you have Network Digital Library of Thesis and Dissertation. Most of the university even overseas, they have this, that you're interested in any specific study, you will definitely get into their database. Some of them you subscribe, some they are free. You can access it. Lest I forget, under the journals, I think all researchers need to subscribe to Google Scholar, meaning once you subscribe to Google Scholar and to renowned, you have already identified renowned professor, prolific, credible writers in that your field, just sign up. They will give you an update, anything, something related, even to that scholar comes up. I do that. I have from those who are well versed, even in my field, the Louva, the Nelson, and then of course our people from ISP like Professor Elori, the work that he has done, and of course as part of the monograph within the system, our the inaugural lecture is also a veritable resource that students can leverage. Especially, you can look at the inaugural lecture over a number of periods within which you are interested in, to see how the field has emerged over time, how your supervisor, those who have done inaugural, how they have emerged over time, how they have published and the like. So these are very good resources that we can leverage. And of course, government publications and reports, they are also very, very important, especially those institutions that are very reputable, and of course, that are doing quality research. And of course, peer-reviewed conference proceedings is also very good. And of course, in fact, many of them count like journal articles. Of course, institutional and research organization mentioned that UNESCO, OECD, AU, other Nepal sources, the African Development Bank sources, and many other reputable institutions like that. So characteristic of a credible source, I think I've mentioned that earlier. They are peer-reviewed by experts. They have identifiable authors and affiliation that you can actually contact in case you have any question related to what they have published, or you want to know more about what they have published or specific articles. So it's also current and relevant and comes from reputable publisher as noted. And of course, I mentioned earlier some sources for us that we should avoid, especially the predatory journals, all these personal blogs, they are personal opinion, which may not really be scientific in nature. So all of those ones shouldn't be featuring in our work. And of course, the simple rule is for academic research, prioritize peer-reviewed journal articles, scholarly books, and reputable institutional reports, especially, whatever, regardless of your field, sustainable development goals is very important for you to, see how your research that you intend to do will contribute even to the sustainable development goal, and also even to your national development plan. Because until you begin to see yourself in the light of national development plan, you won't be able to address the relevance, how your research will definitely contribute even to developing your country, and of course to your body of knowledge. So other sources, I think last week I did mention that there are roads that are less traveled by most researchers in this part of the world, and that includes, using patent information for research. So if you are in a way you're tending towards coming up with something useful for the industry, which of course is going to lead to either inventions at the end of the day. It's always important for you to check what is already in existence within the patent scope or within the patent databases. We have Patent School by WIPO. Google Patent is also there. USPTO is there. Then European Patent Office database is also there. For us, you know, is unfortunate, but I think we can still keep up because maybe because we don't have the number, but that notwithstanding, even the little that we have should be publicly available. Unfortunately, Obafemi Awolowo University already has a database that you can look at what other researchers have done so that you don't begin to reinvent the wheel, and then take a cue from there, interact with them and see how you can shift that frontiers of knowledge even from there. So those are very important sources that we can use. And I mentioned earlier, we're in the era of AI, artificial intelligence. It also contributes significantly even to the speed and accuracy of literature review today. And I think the last two, not the last week it was on patent, intellectual property. The previous one, there were two that we did on referencing, but before that we had systematic literature review. So this is also a very important options that people can use in terms of conducting their literature review. So to do that, AI can actually assist researchers even to do a very good and thorough literature review. These are some of the AI platforms that does quite a number of literature review. And of course, we should note, this is the caution that we always exercise when we are using AI. So you use your AI with HI, that is, use artificial intelligence moderated by the human intelligence. It's very important, it's very key, because AI sometimes they hallucinate, you know, they can bring what is not, you know. I've had several experiences, even especially from the junior researchers here in my office, that I'll give them assignments, and when they return it, you see that yes, this is actually coming from artificial intelligence. And of course, if you are not aware of the literature of your within your field, it will be difficult for you to detect. And then by the time you will get to know, it may have put you into some issues that will be difficult for you to get yourself out of it, because if you plagiarize so much, it can lead to dismissal, or you not be able to complete that research, or they withdraw the grant that they may have given you. So it's very important that as we are using AI, let us use it with human intelligence as well. I'm actually getting to the close of the discussion this morning. I just want to ask everyone on the call, which AI tool do you use, and why do you use those ones that you use? Can anybody just unmute or raise your hand so that the admin can unmute you and then you speak, or you can just drop it in the chat, the type of AI that you use, and then yes, anybody want to try? Just tell us, just feel free. Yes. Okay, consensual. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Moses. So why do you use that? I may ask. Yeah, ChatGPT seems convenient, of course. Yeah, it's convenient. Yeah, oh, fantastic. Sciencebase, fantastic. Detailed and draw from recent, from recent literature. Yeah, Jenny, AI, yeah. Connected papers, yeah. So all of those are very good. But please and please and please apply human intelligence as you are doing. And of course, we also have the AI that can edit AI, output, right? So all of those are very important. But human intelligence, you can't go wrong with it, so that you will be able to verify and ascertain that yes, what you are sending out there is credible, reliable, and people can relate with them. Is very important. So that's the big lesson even from there. Sorry, the slide is not moving again. Did I do something wrong? Sorry, my slide is not moving again.
You can stop sharing and reshare, sir.
Oh yeah, thanks so much. Apologies for that. Yeah, still the same issue. Sorry. Oh yeah. So performing literature search, what are key takeaways that I put here as we wrap up? It is time consuming. Let us note that, because it's not something you can do in a hurry. You can't rush literature
Sorry, sir.
review.
Sorry,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
We can't see your screen.
You can do what?
We can't see your screen.
Oh,
We can only see you.
oh yeah. It's great. What about now?
Yeah, it's yes. Now we can see it.
All right. Thank you very much. Time is time consuming. It's not something we can do so much in a hurry. Let's forget about hurried research. So I think at the beginning, if you're a doctoral student, what I would suggest is, as you are entering from the first year, if yours is with coursework, as you are doing the coursework, begin to think of what you intend to do and begin to do or put together your plan, your work plan. The work plan for your thesis is going to help you a lot. You have to start early, so that it's not going to be when your time is almost exhausted within the university, you begin to rush. No, you have to master everything as you go, but make sure you have a timeline, a schedule, even for your research. This is what most, researchers, most students, they don't really have. And it's actually because we tend to be on a full-time postgraduate program while we are also working full-time, right? So, but in the advanced countries, in the Western world, once you're on a PhD program, it's a full-time job that you are doing. So it allows you a lot of opportunity to really concentrate on your work. But here, you have to fend for the family, do so many runs, and literature review is not something that you can send somebody to do for you. No. So it's very important. So because it takes a lot of time, AI can help, but mastery grows with time. You need to know that gaining mastery of your field actually grows with time. So essentially, the point is it takes a lot of time, so you must devote time, and following specific timeline or work plan is one of the very useful way for you to go. And you can't do it alone. Don't walk the research journey alone. Before you came to that department, there had been people there. And don't think that what you are bringing is so new that none in the department can, figure it out. No, they already have resources before they approve your studentship to be there. So try as much as possible to learn even from the giants that are ahead of you, and especially from your supervisor, and utilize your supervisor's resources. Part of it is the inaugural lectures. Use your supervisor's links, the friends to your supervisor. Your supervisor should be willing to also introduce you to his colleagues, so that they can say, this my student, just join me to raise him and make a very good researcher out of him. So it's very important to do that, especially as you do your literature review. And access to some database may require subscription. This is where university resources is very key. University needs to subscribe even to reputable databases like Scopus that people can use. If you want to do systematic literature review now, and you don't have access even to databases, it's going to be very difficult. The traditional one that we used to do is when you are reading a paper, you come across another link or another source within the literature, and then you begin to search and do all of that. Search itself takes a lot of time. Very key, takes a lot of time. So come to reading also, which of course takes a lot of time. And of course, AI can help you to read, to summarize even articles or journals, papers or reports that are very credible. And then you can begin to apply your human intelligence to it. So the central message is access to some database may require subscription, but university can help. You can also leverage on your network. And of course, COR resources, as mentioned earlier, and as Mr. Dimeji put it in the chat, those YouTube videos, they are fantastic. When you listen to them, it will guide you, lead you. Okay, if you are a stalker, this is where you can go even to get resources. And of course, you can subscribe also even to a database yourself, especially those that are free. You have on the Agora, for those in a Greek-related field, social sciences, we have the Agora, we have Inari that you can subscribe to, especially from your institution. And of course, PubMed for those in medical sciences, and sometimes psychologists also get to get some very good articles from PubMed, especially those that are related to the psychology of medicine, of other sciences. So those are key takeaways. There are many that I could mention, but these are just key ones. And of course, leveraging your supervisor's network is very key. So the final thought is, don't work alone. There is no way you can, if you are being perfect on your own, you wouldn't need a supervisor. You need a supervisor because you need to be guided. So, and when you are guided, you will be able to put the square peg in the square hole, and you'll be able to do the right thing. And also peer learning is equally very important. Gone are the days when you have maybe 2 or 3 PhD and you have different times you are meeting them. No, the current practice is to bring them together at the same time. They may be working on different topics, but the processes remain the same. So if you are telling them how to go about their literature search, then they can begin to discuss. Even when you ask them to do present for you in your office, those that their own are still developing borrow a cue even from there, and by that they co-learning together, co-creating solutions that will help the student, and of the faculty will also learn. It's also very important to note that the supervisor not know it all. No, they can also learn from students and students' thesis when they are coming up with something very that is very novel, that is very credible, and then the supervisor can actually push it even further with the students. So I think on that, I will stop. On the last note, I should also mention that yes, the training, I just want to suggest that the training for the supervisors is also very important. If the Central Office of Research can organize training specifically for the supervisors, nobody is above what you don't know. Because I attended a network of Africa Leads program where they conduct training for the mentors and mentees at the same time on how to guide students. Some students are so brilliant, you don't need to spend so much time with them. By the time you are trying to spend so much time with them, they will think you want to be a cog in the wheel of their progress. Whereas some of them will need a lot of your attention even to correct them. So organizing this is going to actually help the supervisors on the call as well. So on that note, I want to say thank you so much, even for your attention, and I really appreciate the invitation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for this very comprehensive session. Thank you. It's practical, it's comprehensive, and at least it's easy to follow also. So thank you. I think for reactions, if there are questions, this is the time to type them in the chat. And if there are no questions, if there are reactions, I think I want to first invite the Director, Intellectual Property and Technology Transfer Office. I know I saw her earlier. Yeah. Professor Grace Ogunlusi for her reaction. Then after that, I would invite Professor Oluwaranti and then Professor Audrey before the division. Host, please help her to unmute. So prompt her to unmute. Yeah. Okay, why we do that? Let me invite Professor Oluwaranti for his reactions, and then I'll invite Professor Odu, and I hope by then Professor Ogunwusi will have been unmuted. Professor Oluwaranti, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Very well, sir.
Okay. I want to start by appreciating everyone on this call. I want to say good morning to my Oga at the top, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Development, and the coordinator of this program, Director of University Research, Professor Odu. I've had a wonderful time listening this morning. I want to thank the speaker, Dr. Caleb Delo, someone I've known for quite a while to be an excellent speaker and a dutiful researcher. It's obvious from what he has been able to present this morning. And I want to start from the last statement or the last takeaway that he gave about training the supervisors. I really resonate with that. A lot of people, you go and do exam and you are wondering that was this project supervised? What happened? Is there a connection between the student and the supervisor? no harm in getting a little bit of knowledge and extra knowledge as a supervisor on the conduct of research or the role of a supervisor and in the project. It is sometimes it is not the way we were handled that we ought to have been handled. And if you don't learn the proper way, you tend to want to do the same thing that was done to you or handle things the way you were handled. And so, what is just suggested, and I agree totally that there should be a forum that we had a discussion. I was in a place that I told somebody bluntly that yes, I may be the supervisor of this person, but I'm not the mentor. So the question is supervisor equals to mentor? And we had an argument back and forth on that. Some people do not know that there's actually a difference between supervision and mentorship. And those are some of the nuances that needs to be brought to the fore. It is possible that supervisors are also mentor to the person, but it is not the same role. The responsibilities are not the same. And these are things that our colleagues need to be enlightened about and get to know. Other things that he has presented, the role of researcher review in giving the researcher a very, very solid grounding in what he or she wants to do is too important to be overlooked. And so he has presented this in a very practical, relatable way. And I want to thank him for this wonderful presentation. It is really something that I looked at. In fact, I hope that the PG will enhance this. I know we are doing URM, but some of the things that he emphasized here are things that some URM students ought to also gain from. And the mastery of this will be better for our researcher and the entire academic unit on campus. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me invite Professor Babajide very quickly. Our time is nearly spent.
Thank you, Dimeji. Thank you so much. I want to thank Dr. Caleb Adelov for the presentation. This is a very robust presentation and it's all encompassing. Looking at resources for literature review. Just like Professor Luamonte has said, one should not confuse supervisor for a mentor. But the supervisor can be a form of mentor. I just want to mention that by the way, because that's left for the presenter to help us clarify. But that's just my own understanding. So I want to thank you for this presentation. This is a very, very good one. And it is not just going to be useful for postgraduate students alone, but also for researchers who are writing proposals, who are writing research papers. So this is a very, very good one. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. So, Prof. DVC, sir.
Thank you so much, Dimeji. So let me just use this opportunity again to appreciate the presenter. I've listened to the comments. But just to say that as a university, I remember in 2017, we started an approach where we try to engage the supervisors. Ideally, a postgraduate supervisor should be the first mentor of the student. Ideally, that's the right. But again, as we say in academics, one of the culture we learn in research is respect. So we will continue to engage ourselves. We will continue to see how we improve, on this. So because of time, we don't want to always overshoot time. I'm doing another meeting by 9. So again, I want to thank the presenter and thank you so much. And we are looking forward to another opportunity to engage you. Thank you, Dimeji. Yeah.
All right, so thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. The recording is there on our YouTube page. And please, at this same time next week, we'll be having another session. Sorry, let me quickly pull out the title and read it out. We'll be having another session by Dr. Akin Monet, and it's going to look into. Sorry, yes, it's going to look into why good thesis fail to influence practice, designing research that shapes strategy and execution. So please, most of our sessions are recorded on our YouTube page. It is the same link. Next week Friday, it is the same Zoom space, and it's the same YouTube page also. So please come around next Friday, invite your friends and colleagues, and you will be able to have another exciting session. So see you next week. Bye, everyone.